I'm Tracy Osborne, and you're listening to the Daring Woman podcast. Imagine the story of a generation being altered by women who were empowered to live their truth and in turn can empower others to live theirs. It's time to rewrite the narrative. So something that we see as a society is that we tend to want everything to fit into this nice, neat little box. So, the whole white picket fence and the 2.5 kids and the dog and, PTA and just all of this stereotyping and how everything needs to fit nice and neat. And if it doesn't fit inside the box, we don't like it. It's different. And, who likes different? Kind of makes me think of the neighborhood in Edward Scissorhands where all the houses are basically the same except for the color. They all have these cars. I mean, everything is basically the same, and there's just no individuality. Well, my guest today, Sunaina Talwar, she lived this in the box life for like the first 10 years of her adulthood until she realized she didn't want to do it that way anymore. So she's going to talk to us today and tell us a little bit about her story and how she went from living with everybody's expectations to living her authentic life. So Sunaina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on here, Tracy.
Well, I'm excited to have you. Let's go ahead and just dive right in and tell us a little bit about your backstory.
My backstory, obviously, you graduate high school and you're told to go to college. And then after college, you're told to find this wonderful job and find a guy and build a house and build a family and build a life.
Right.
So I decided that, hey, this is the thing that you're supposed to do. This is the box you're supposed to live in. But in all those years, as I lived in the box, I went to college, but there was an itch in me the whole time. I was in college. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, even though I already had a plan that going through college, I was going to graduate and move to New York and work on Wall Street. Like, I'm a finance and marketing major. I was like, okay, so I need to find a good job. So you go to a good place. Life always threw spinballs at me. It always threw those curveballs to make me realize that that's not the life that I was created with. That's not my purpose. And it started off when I graduated. I graduated right into that recession back in 2008. The market crashed in November, December, and I walked that stage December of 2008. And I was like, wait, it's like, I'm not supposed to live in this box. And I always felt like I needed to leave this box. I felt like I was trapped in a cage like a bird is. But I just didn't even know how to open the cage door, basically. And I'm like, how do I get out of here? But everyone's like, no. And so obviously really couldn't find a job. I did end up finding an internship out on the East Coast, which was the closest I could get to New York at that point. I was like, okay, fine. And then obviously there was really no full-time jobs available. I was like, well, higher education, that's the way to go. That's what everyone does at some point of their life. Let's go get a master's or a PhD. But again, life threw me the curveball. All my practice exams would have gotten me into an Ivy League school. I went and took my actual exam, which was going to be submitted to all the colleges for my PhD program. Tracy, it was a joke. I still remember coming home and telling my instructor what I got. She's like, how could you get that score? And that was the thing. It was like life always showed me ways for me to get out of that cage. But I kept on living in the cage because that's what we're told to do.
Right.
You're supposed to make everyone happy on this journey, and you're supposed to do everything that everyone else is doing. You don't know any better because you're like, wait, if I do step out of the box, like you had said, it's that uncomfortable feeling of wait, will my family approve of me? This group of friends, will they laugh at me? Will they think I'm crazy? So I just kept having that internal battle. The divine me kept on being like, get out of here, do what you're created to do. But the ego and the pride were like, no, you need to stick in this, this box and this confined lifestyle. And I kept on going, kept on fighting. And then it just came to a point 5 years ago where I'm like, you know what? Enough is enough. I was like, I'm not going to. Like, I was actually talking to a guy that I had been friends with for 10 years. And I'm like, you know what? Like, let's see where, like, obviously we're more than friends. Like, we've liked each other at some points, but none of us have verbalized it. And I was like, well, you fit into my parents', box of what a guy should be, who I should spend the rest of my life with. And let's just see where this goes. I seriously went to bed telling him that we'll like plan a vacation to like see like how we click and stuff. The next day I was like, you know what? Fuck no, I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. I literally called him the next day. I was like, I don't want to go on vacation with you, let alone I don't want to be friends with you. I need to go figure my life out, and my life is not in this box anymore. That was literally the first leap that I took in this. And I still remember, like, I still feel that rush because it was so, like, incredible of, like, you know what? I'm not living that life that everyone wants me to live, the life that we're all told we're supposed to be living.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to live out my true passion no matter how hard it is and no matter how many times I feel like I have to run up a sandhill. And that's just what it's been ever since then. It's been like that sprint up a sandhill, which feels like it's never ending. But I make sure that I enjoy it along the way. So I met my current boyfriend of 5 years. I met him on eHarmony, a way that I never thought I was going to meet someone. Complete opposite of what I would have ever imagined. But this is the most incredible guy. Now being an entrepreneur, doing something that's not the norm,
right,
and the most fulfilling thing. And just taking one step at a time has just been so incredible, but by no means has it been easy. It's taken a lot of healing, rewiring, unprocessing, because we've been like, when I started this process, I was 29, and all this stuff was embedded in me for 29 years. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I have to rewire my internal thinking, and like, you need to become so self-aware that you need to know when your mind's going to throw you that curveball again, when your mind's going to make you second guess that. Not even just your mind, like the external forces are going to come to be like, hello, like, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Right. And you become so confident, so driven, so passionate, and have such a strong foundation. And that's why I allowed myself to take my time with this, because they say for anything to last, you have to allow it to take its time. Because if you try to, do something at such a rush and something so quickly, it's not going to last. That's just a temporary fix. And I knew that this was something I wanted as my permanent fix for the rest of my life. So I was like, you know what? However long it takes, and, we're human. We're always a work in progress. And this is, what my coach likes to say, it's life work, and it's going to be continuation. You're going to continue to work on yourself. You're going to continue to get better. But where I was 5 years ago to where I am today, after that conversation where I told a guy, I'm like, no way. I don't care if you fit into that box that my parents want me to live in, and you fit into that, potential future of a white picket fence, 2.5 kids, like perfect life. That's not how my life is supposed to be perfect. My life doesn't fit into a box. None of our lives are supposed to fit into a box. We're not robots. That's the thing. And yes, it's uneasy, but there's nothing more fulfilling than living the life that you were created to live, the purpose that you were created for. Mm-hmm. And, you just got to. You have to be like, okay, like, I'm created for more. I'm made for more. I'm going to live that full life that I know is mine. So that's been my journey, basically.
And, and it's awesome that you have been able to figure that out, because so many of us haven't. Or we wait and, we figure it out late in life when it's almost too late to really, make a difference and have the life that we were supposed to have. So the fact that you were able to figure it out and not fall into that trap of putting yourself in a box, in a perfect mold, is fantastic. How, you touched on the fact that we have to be self-aware, and we have to consciously, really think about what we're thinking and be aware of what we're thinking, because we tend to have all of these crap thoughts, and we have those same thoughts day after day after day after day, and it's like being on autopilot. We don't even know that we're thinking them. So how did you go about becoming self-aware so that you could start making those changes?
The biggest thing I did was I slowed down in life. I think because we get so crazily busy and we're running from one thing to another. Mind you, like my schedule is packed from 4 a.m. in the morning until 8:30 p.m. Like it's jam-packed. Mm-hmm. But I've given myself that time in the morning. I always say the first 60 minutes, how you spend your day is how your day is going to pan out. And how your day pans out is how your week pans out, and how your week, and so on and so forth. But the first 60 minutes is so important for me because I don't touch my cell phone at that point. I sit there. Sometimes I just completely sit there in silence if I wake up before my boyfriend does. I sit there in complete silence to get in tune with myself, to hear my intuition, to get in tune with my intuition, to talk to, let it be the universe, God, whatever anyone believes. And what you need to do to become self-aware is you got to turn down the volume of all that external noise. And when you turn down the volume of the external noise, which is so loud, and that's what my problem was, like my external noise volume was so incredibly loud. Like that was on 800. And my internal voice and my internal volume was probably on negative 800. So taking those little steps, and like I said, this was not an overnight process by any means. Today I can confidently say after 5 years of working on this that I am where I am because I've taken the slow time and pace. But that's what I did. I slowly would sit there and journal. I would, listen to my intuition, follow my intuition. It's scary to follow your intuition. Mm-hmm. Your intuition says this and you're like, excuse me, intuition, but this is completely opposite of what the world says. But trying it once, I remember I tried it once in 2012. I completely followed my intuition. And it was the most incredible thing. And that just became like a high, like an intuition high, just like a runner's high. And it was just great because I was like, oh my God, this is so much more incredible than I would have even planned it. And once you start to do that, you start to really get in tune with yourself and you become more self-aware. And allowing yourself to feel the emotions and the feelings that you're feeling actually helps you as well. And trust me, this process, I was talking to a friend this morning about it. I think I spent the first 2.5 years of this transition just crying because I needed to. I needed to because I had so much bottled up within me. But that helped me clean everything out and become more self-aware. So now I'm very aware of what situations put my energy at a high and what situations put my energy at a low. And now I've come to a point where I even know why those situations put my energy level at a high or a low. And again, I'm trying to convert those energy low situations into energy high situations. Mm-hmm. But slowing down has done magic for me. And I know it's not the easiest thing to do because we have a list of 800 things, but then it comes down to time management and prioritizing and getting really organized. I write everything down in my daily planner and that's just how I go. And sometimes things take longer, sometimes things don't. And you just have to allow it to let go and just hear yourself and really listen to your body and listen to what your body wants. If your body wants rest, give it rest. Because once you give it rest and recharge, you'll be able to hear yourself more and you'll become more self-aware.
I like it. Do you meditate too?
I don't meditate, but somehow I've talked my boyfriend into meditating.
Yeah, I'm not big for meditating. I like to just kind of sit in silence. Yeah. Maybe just focus on my breathing or, just tune into the silence.
Yeah.
So just to kind of quiet down and turn my mind off for a moment.
That's exactly what I do. I just sit there in silence and I just allow what's through me to come through me and just flow. And, I focus on, what I'm feeling at that point and focus, I look at the thoughts. I let the thoughts drift away. I focus on my breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I've always loved the sound of crashing waves.
Yeah, me too.
In my mind, I play that audio, I guess, because I've heard it so much. And that just, helps me relax. And I guess in its own way, it's meditation. But I don't really sit there with the intent that I'm meditating. I sit there with the intent that I'm sitting in silence.
Right. Have you, like, something that I tell people to do is to get a journal or a notebook or whatever, and as you're beginning to be conscious of your thoughts, to start writing them down, the ones that you are hearing on repeat, and the negative ones, the ones that don't serve you, to write them down so that you can reprogram yourself and, change those thoughts. So, oh my God, I had another freaking cupcake. I'm such a cow. Change that to, okay, I had a cupcake, I indulged, it was awesome, and now we're going to get back on healthy, or, something like that. But is that something that you did as well?
So I do both things. I really, me personally, and what I tell my clients is words are so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful what words you use. We've been taught this, this large dictionary of words, and not every word should be utilized. And that's just the reality of it. And some words have so strong power and some words are so weak. Like, when I look at something that I'm trying to work towards, I don't say I want XYZ. Or what I say is I'm going to get XYZ by doing LMNOP, because it just changes your motivation towards it and your drive and the steps you're going to take versus we want 100 million things.
Sure.
When you lay out a plan, it creates a different drive for you. And journaling, let me tell you, journaling is like my best friend. My boyfriend knows ins and outs and ups and downs of everything. I tell him everything, but my journal is my healer. I really utilize my journal as a healing tool. I actually just bought 2 on Monday myself because I'm actually going through a big shift and up leveling in my life currently. And I know there's a lot of stuff that I need to heal from. So I bought these 2 journals for 70 cents. And after I'm done writing everything that I need to dispose of, I will go and burn them, because that stuff doesn't serve me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I have
healing.
Yeah,
that's a really powerful exercise to write that stuff down and then burn it. And just, it doesn't serve you, and you're releasing it. So you're releasing that negative energy back into the universe to be absorbed and to be recycled into positive energy.
Exactly.
So that's a really powerful one.
Yeah, so I do that, and I absolutely love that. That's actually gotten me through a lot of things in my life. That's gotten me through the first 5 years of my transition. And like I said, this healing that I'm going through right now is a huge healing because of the people that are involved in it. But I'm just so driven with it because by journaling, I literally what was it? So I picked them up on Monday. So Tuesday morning, I journaled for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So in 20 minutes, I wrote 10 pages. And I felt like I lost 50 pounds. Because it was just so incredible. Because I've been we carry this stuff inside of us. And we might be fine at the surface level, but it's when you start to dig deep within you and you realize that subconsciously you're actually not okay. Because what we do is we keep shoving everything under the rug. We keep pushing everything in the back dark corner that we just don't want to look at it again. But that stuff really does still get to us. So
absolutely.
Journaling is the most powerful tool. I actually have a separate journal then for my business stuff that, like, when great ideas come up, I just pop them in there. So again, like, I have my boyfriend and my friends actually call me the journal queen. If you ever look at the amount of journals I carry around in my backpack, it's like 10 of them.
Oh my goodness.
Because like each journal serves a different purpose. So
sure.
You just don't know what you're going to have at what point. And I don't want to put something in the wrong journal. Like, I don't want to put a business idea in my healing journal because that's going to be burnt and I'm never going to know what that business idea was. But it's my crazy way of being organized and my crazy way of staying organized and knowing. And this is how I've always functioned. Like, I've always been like the journal and notebook queen. But yeah, when it comes to up-leveling your life and, becoming more aware of yourself and getting out of that box life that we live in, this like box, a white picket fence, 2.5 kids, journaling is going to be the most powerful tool. Like, you can talk to someone, but at the same time, when you talk to someone, you will still hesitate to tell them everything because of the fear of judgment. So this way,
it's like the difference between reading a book and watching the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And with your journal, like you just said, the judgment. So with your journal, there's no judgment. Your journal's not going to judge you. It's not going to go blabbing your deepest, darkest secrets because you pissed it off.
Exactly.
It's safe, and it doesn't have to make sense. You can, you can just scribble whatever comes out of your head, and it doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't have to make sense. You don't even need to look back at it. Like,
no.
Whenever I stop, I always put like a binder clip on it. So then next time I open it where I left off, and I don't go back and look at it because I've wrote all that stuff so I could heal from it. Now so I can kind of relive it.
Right. Ruminate, yeah.
Disposing it. And that's what I want to do. I want to dispose it so then when I open up the journal next, I have a little post-it right before I start writing. It says, I'm ready to heal, I'm ready to let go, and I'm ready to forgive. So I like that. So I read that before I start journaling, so I know what my journaling's intention is. Because setting up intentions for stuff like that is very important. Mm-hmm. And then you get to a point where you in my journal, I write like notes that, I would want that person to read of like, you affected me because of X, Y, Z, but I forgive you because of, 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. I have to give them to them, but it's just a way for me to process everything and release everything. And then I write a note to myself, I'm sorry, Sunaina, that I put myself through this. I put myself through this because I thought this is how this was supposed to be, or this is how this was supposed to be. Now that I've learned and become wiser, I know that I'm not going to do this because I've become more aware of this and this and that.
Wow, that's really good tips. Those are really good tips. Wow, that's awesome. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that with us, and just reminding us that it is okay. In fact, it's better than okay to just be you and throw the box away, or use it to store your journals, but, don't put yourself in it anymore. And don't worry about what other people think. That's something that I have to remind myself all the time too. I would love to do my hair like this and dress like this. And then I stop and think, come on, I'm a 47-year-old mom of 4, grandma of 2, and I'm a women's empowerment coach. Should I really, color my hair pink or purple or whatever? And then I have to stop and think, well, if that's me, then yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So
for all these years, I was like, I don't want to get a sleeve tattoo because of this, that, and the other. And I'm like, just waiting for the time in my schedule where I can make that appointment because that's what I want. I want cherry blossoms with birds to represent everyone in my life.
I like it. I'm doing a butterfly tattoo. It'll go on across my back.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, it'll be a family tree of me and my kids and my grandkids, but it's going to be all done in butterflies. So
Oh, that's so cute.
yeah, that's going to be a cool
You
one.
know what? You got to do you. You got to be true.
Yeah.
You got to let your light shine because you're only given this one life to do it.
Yeah, YOLO.
Don't look back. Don't look back at your life and be like, what if? Because you can't say what if, because those were the choices you made at that point. So,
Right.
look forward and be like, this is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to do it.
Yep. No regrets. No regrets. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit and learning about you and just being reminded to be unique, be me, and to heck with what everybody else thinks.
Exactly.
So,
thank you so much for having me on, Tracy. And if you want to go color your hair, girl, go do it.
I just might. Ladies, thank you so much for listening. As always, we will talk to you next week on the show.